The alien ship appeared without warning. It was massive, larger than any city on Earth, and it hung in space above the planet like a second moon. Every telescope, every satellite, every radar station on Earth detected it at the same time. The world stopped and stared upward. Lieutenant Jack Harrison was on duty at the North American Defense Command when the alarm started screaming. He had been drinking coffee and reading reports, expecting another boring night shift. Instead, his screen filled with red warnings. Something huge had just entered Earth's orbit. "Sir, we have an unidentified object," he called to his commanding officer. "It's massive, nothing like anything we've ever seen." Admiral Kevin Brooks rushed to the screen. His face went pale. "Get me the president. Get me everyone. This is not a drill." Within 30 minutes, every military base on Earth went to maximum alert. Fighter jets scrambled into the sky. Nuclear submarines moved into position. Missile batteries came online. President Claire Mitchell sat in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by generals and advisors. Nobody spoke. They just watched the alien ship on the main screen. The ship did nothing for 2 hours. It just waited. Then it sent a message. Every radio, every television, every computer on Earth received it at the same time. The message came in every language: English, Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, Hindi, and hundreds more. The voice was strange, with odd clicks and whistles underneath the words, but the translation was perfect. "People of Earth, do not be afraid. We come in peace. We are the Galactic Council. We represent 700 civilized species from across the galaxy. We have watched your progress with great interest. You have reached a level of development that allows us to make contact. We welcome you to the community of intelligent life. We offer you friendship, technology, and protection. We mean you no harm." The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. President Mitchell looked around the room. "Opinions?" General Lisa Campbell spoke first. "It could be a trick. We have no way to verify their intentions. They could have attacked us already if they wanted to," said Dr. Paul Gardner, the chief science advisor. "That ship could probably destroy our entire planet." "Which is exactly why we should be careful," Admiral Brooks said. "They have all the power here. We have none." "What do we do?" the president asked. "We prepare," General Campbell said. "For anything." The alien ship sent another message 6 hours later. This time, it was more specific. A smaller craft would descend to the United Nations building in New York. The aliens wanted to meet face to face. They wanted to talk. The world watched as the shuttle came down. It was small compared to the mothership, but still larger than any aircraft humans had built. It landed gently in the plaza outside the United Nations. The metal was silver and smooth, without any visible seams or windows. It looked like it had been grown rather than built. A door opened. 4 figures stepped out. The first one was tall and thin, with blue skin and 4 eyes. It wore robes that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. This was Commander Zekthor of the Venlari Empire. He was the leader of this mission. The second alien looked like it was made of living crystal. Light passed through its body, creating rainbow patterns on the ground. This was Velis, a member of the Shard Collective. It moved silently, floating a few inches above the ground. The third creature had tentacles instead of arms and legs. Its skin was wet and glistened in the sun. Its eyes were large and black. This was Solmara from the Aquarian depths. It wore a device around its neck that allowed it to breathe air. The fourth alien was the most frightening. It looked like a giant insect with a hard shell and multiple limbs. Its head had large compound eyes and sharp mandibles. This was Tikcha, a warrior from the Kresh Dominion. It carried no visible weapons, but its body itself looked dangerous. The 4 aliens walked toward the United Nations building. Armed soldiers lined the path, but they had orders not to shoot unless attacked. The aliens ignored them completely. Inside the building, representatives from every nation on Earth waited. President Mitchell sat at the center of the assembly. Next to her was Secretary General Carlos Mendoza. Behind them stood dozens of world leaders, military officers, and diplomats. Everyone was tense. The aliens entered the main chamber. Commander Zekthor stepped forward. When he spoke, a device on his chest translated his words into perfect English. Greetings, people of Earth. I am Commander Zekthor. These are my colleagues. We come as friends and guides. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders. You are now ready to join us and take your place among the civilized species. Welcome to Earth, President Mitchell said carefully. We are honored by your visit, but we have many questions. Of course, Zekthor said. That is why we are here, to answer your questions and to help you understand your new place in the galaxy. What exactly is the Galactic Council? Asked Carlos Mendoza. Velis answered, her voice like wind chimes. The Council is the governing body of civilized space. We maintain peace, regulate trade, and protect developing species. We have existed for over 12,000 of your years. We represent 700 member species. All advanced civilizations eventually join us. And what does membership require? President Mitchell asked. Tikcha clicked his mandibles. You must follow council law. You must contribute resources to the common good. You must abandon warfare and violence. You must accept council oversight of your development. A murmur ran through the assembly. General Lisa Campbell leaned forward. You want us to give up our weapons? Violence is primitive. Sulmara bubbled through her translator. Advanced species do not need weapons. The Council provides protection. You will be safe. Safe from what? Admiral Brooks asked. From hostile species, Zekthor explained. From dangers you cannot yet imagine. Space is not empty. There are threats that would destroy your entire world without hesitation, but under Council protection, you will be secure. And if we refuse? Asked President Mitchell quietly. The aliens looked at each other in surprise. Velis spoke first. Refusal is not an option we have considered. All species join the Council. It is the natural progression of civilization. But what if we choose not to? The President pressed. Zekthor's 4 eyes narrowed. Then you would remain isolated, quarantined. You would have no access to galactic trade or technology. You would be considered primitive and dangerous. Other species would avoid you. Your development would stop. Eventually, you would either join us or die out. That sounds like a threat, General Campbell said coldly. It is reality, Tikcha responded. We are offering you a gift, the chance to join something greater than yourselves. Why would you refuse? President Mitchell stood up. Because you are asking us to surrender our independence, our freedom to govern ourselves, our right to defend ourselves. Those are not small things. They are nothing compared to what we offer, Zekthor said. We bring technology that will cure all disease, end hunger, clean your polluted world, give you unlimited energy. All we ask in return is that you follow our laws and abandon your primitive ways. Our primitive ways kept us alive, Admiral Brooks said. They brought us from caves to cities to space. Maybe we are not so eager to throw them away. The crystal being Velis pulsed with light. You do not understand. You are like children playing with fire. Your nuclear weapons could destroy your own world. Your wars kill millions. Your pollution is destroying your environment. We are here to save you from yourselves. Nobody asked you to save us, General Campbell replied. An uncomfortable silence filled the chamber. The aliens had expected gratitude, wonder, and immediate acceptance. Instead, they faced questions, suspicion, and resistance. This had never happened before. Commander Zekthor tried a different approach. Perhaps we are moving too quickly. Let us demonstrate what we offer. He gestured, and Sulmara produced a small device. This medical scanner can diagnose any disease and provide the cure. This alone could save billions of lives on your world. Dr. Gardner stood up, his scientific curiosity overcoming his caution. May I examine it? Of course, Sulmara said, handing over the device. The doctor studied it carefully, his eyes widening. This is incredible. The technology here is centuries beyond anything we have. Exactly, Zekthor said. This is just a small sample. Imagine what else we can share, but only if you join us. President Mitchell watched the exchange carefully. She saw the wonder in the doctor's eyes. She saw the temptation, but she also saw the trap. Commander Zekthor, we thank you for your demonstration. We need time to discuss your offer. This is a decision that affects our entire species. We cannot make it lightly. Of course, Zekthor said, though his tone suggested impatience. But do not take too long. The Council has many duties. We cannot wait forever for one species to make the obvious choice. How long do we have? Carlos Mendoza asked. 1 of your weeks, Velis chimed. Return to your ship and await your answer, but know this. We are offering you a place in paradise. To refuse would be foolish beyond measure. The aliens left the building and returned to their shuttle. As it rose into the sky, President Mitchell turned to her advisors. Get me every military leader, every scientist, every strategic thinker we have. We need to understand exactly what we are dealing with, and we need to be ready for whatever comes next. Colonel Danny Rogers stood in front of a mountain. At least that was what anyone looking would see. But Danny knew the truth. Hidden inside this mountain was Facility Artemis, built over 30 years ago when humans first started seriously thinking about life beyond Earth. The entrance was disguised as an old mining tunnel. Danny placed his hand on what looked like ordinary rock. A scanner read his fingerprints, his DNA, and his retinal pattern all at once. The rock wall split open silently. Inside, the facility stretched for miles underground. Thousands of people worked here in complete secrecy. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, all working on one single goal, making sure humanity could defend itself if something came from the stars. Dr. Richard Hayes met Danny at the main elevator. Richard was in his 60s with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent most of his adult life in this facility. The president actually gave the order? Richard asked. She did, Danny confirmed. The aliens gave us 1 week. We need to be ready. They descended deep into the mountain. The elevator took 5 minutes to reach the bottom level. When the doors opened, Danny saw it. The Prometheus Drive. It was huge, a sphere of metal and light that filled an entire cavern. Energy crackled across its surface. Around it, hundreds of technicians monitored screens and checked systems. Is it ready? Danny asked. We have been ready for 3 years, Richard said with pride. We just never had a reason to turn it on. Until now. The Prometheus Drive was humanity's greatest achievement and its deepest secret. While the rest of the world thought faster than light travel was impossible, a team of scientists here had made it work. They had studied every theory, every equation, every wild idea, and somehow they had succeeded. But it was not elegant like the alien ship. It was brutal and dangerous. Every time they tested it, there was a chance of catastrophic failure. But it worked. That was all that mattered. How many ships do we have? Danny asked. 18, Richard replied. Each one equipped with the Prometheus Drive. Each one armed with everything we could fit on them. Nuclear missiles, plasma cannons, railguns, even some experimental weapons we are not sure will work. And the crews? Standing by. We have been running simulations for years. They know what to do. Danny walked to the observation window and looked at the massive sphere. You know this might start a war we cannot win. Richard nodded. I know. But if we do nothing, we lose anyway. At least this way we go down fighting. On the surface, President Mitchell called an emergency meeting of world leaders. They gathered virtually, their faces filling screens in the Situation Room. The President of China, the Prime Minister of Russia, the Chancellor of Germany, leaders from every nation on Earth. The aliens have given us 1 week to surrender, Mitchell said bluntly. They call it joining their council, but make no mistake. They want us to give up our weapons, our sovereignty, and our freedom. I want to know where everyone stands. The Russian president spoke first. We have dealt with empires before. They always want the same thing. Control. I say we refuse. But they have technology we cannot match, the Chinese president countered. Perhaps we should negotiate. Accept some terms, but keep others. They will not negotiate, General Campbell said. I have analyzed their language, their behavior. They are used to being obeyed without question. They came here expecting us to thank them and fall in line. Then what do? The German Chancellor asked. We cannot fight them. Colonel Rogers stepped forward. Actually, we can. The world leaders stared at him in confusion. Rogers gestured and a holographic display appeared showing 18 spacecraft. For 30 years, we have been preparing for this possibility. Not just the United States, but a coalition of nations. We pooled our resources and our best minds. We built these ships in secret. Ships that can travel faster than light. Ships that can fight. The room erupted in shock and angry questions. The Chinese president looked furious. You built a military fleet in secret? Without informing the rest of the world? We informed those who needed to know, Mitchell said calmly. This was too important to risk leaks or politics. We did what was necessary to protect humanity. And now you want to use these ships to fight aliens who are thousands of years more advanced? The Japanese Prime Minister asked. That is suicide. Maybe, Rogers admitted. But it is our choice. They came here offering pretty words, but underneath it is the same old story. Submit or suffer. Well, humanity did not get to the top of the food chain by submitting. Admiral Helen Carter pulled up tactical displays. We have been studying their ship for 3 days. It is powerful, but it is also a diplomatic vessel. Not heavily armed. They did not expect resistance. That gives us an advantage, and an advantage, the French president scoffed. They have 700 species. Billions of soldiers. What advantage do we possibly have? Surprise, General Lisa Campbell said. They think we are primitive. They think we will roll over. When we do not, they will be confused. Confused enemies make mistakes. President Mitchell looked at each leader on the screens. I am not asking for permission. The ships are already built. The crews are ready. I am asking for support. When we tell the aliens no, they will likely respond with force. Every nation needs to be ready. The Brazilian president leaned forward. What exactly are you planning? We are going to show them that Earth is not interested in their protection, Mitchell said. And if they push us, we are going to push back harder than they ever imagined possible. In orbit, Commander Zekthor sat on his ship, confident that the humans would accept. They always did. Every species eventually saw reason. His communications officer, a young Venlari named Kelrin, monitored Earth's broadcasts. Commander, the human news networks are showing much debate. Some want to join us. Others are against it. That is normal, Zekthor said. Let them argue. In the end, logic will prevail. They have no choice but to join us. But Velis, the crystal being, was less certain. I sensed something wrong. These humans are too calm, too organized. Most primitive species are in chaos by now. But their governments are coordinated. Their militaries are on alert but not panicking. They are simply cautious. Zekthor dismissed. It will pass. I hope you are right, Solmara bubbled. But I have studied their history. These humans have fought thousands of wars. They are very good at killing, even killing each other. Which is precisely why they need our guidance, Tikcha clicked. Violence must be bred out of them. The Council will show them a better way. 3 days passed. Zekthor grew impatient. He sent a message to Earth requesting an update. President Mitchell responded within an hour. Commander Zekthor, we are still deliberating. This is a momentous decision. Surely you can understand we need time. You have had sufficient time, Zekthor replied, his patience wearing thin. The Council does not wait forever. We have other species to contact, other duties to fulfill. Then perhaps you should return to those duties, Mitchell said coolly. We will contact you when we have decided. Zekthor was shocked. No one had ever dismissed him before. You do not understand your position. Without the Council, your species has no future. You will be alone in a hostile galaxy. We have been alone since we evolved, Mitchell responded. We will manage. The transmission ended. Zekthor stood up, his 4 eyes blazing with anger. They dare to dismiss us? Activate scanning protocols. I want to know everything about their military capabilities. The sensors swept across Earth. What they found confused the Venlari crew. Commander, we are detecting unusual energy signatures. Multiple locations across the planet. Underground facilities. The power levels are far beyond what their technology should allow. Weapons? Zekthor asked. Possibly. But the signatures are strange. Almost like miniature, faster-than-light drives. But that is impossible. They do not have that technology. Scan again, Zekthor ordered. There must be an error. The scans ran 3 more times. The results did not change. Earth had technology that should not exist. Velis pulsed with agitation. I told you something was wrong. They have been preparing for this. Perhaps for decades. How? Silmara asked. They only achieved basic spaceflight 60 years ago. How could they develop faster-than-light travel so quickly? Maybe they are smarter than we thought, Tikcha suggested. Or more desperate. Zekthor made a decision. Send a message to the Council. Request military support, just as a precaution. Do you really think that is necessary? Kelrin asked. I do not know, Zekthor admitted. But these humans are unpredictable. Better to be prepared. On Earth, the week deadline approached. President Mitchell gathered her advisors one final time. Are we really doing this? She asked. We are, General Campbell confirmed. The ships are ready. The crews are in position. All military forces worldwide are on standby. The aliens will not take this well, Carlos Mendoza warned. I know, Mitchell said, but freedom is not free. Someone once said that. I think they were right. Admiral Brooks pulled up a star chart. If they attack, we have a plan. It is risky, but it could work. Everything about this is risky, Rogers said, but doing nothing is riskier. President Mitchell took a deep breath. All right. Send the message. Tell Commander Zekthor we want to meet. One more time. We will give him our answer face to face. The message went out. Zekthor responded immediately. He would come. Tikcha stepped forward, his insect body clicking and whirring with agitation. You refuse the Council's protection? Then you accept isolation. Your solar system will be quarantined. No trade, no contact, no access to galactic civilization. Your species will wither and die alone. Then we die on our feet, Admiral Brooks said. Not on our knees. Commander Zekthor felt something he had not experienced in decades. Uncertainty. He had performed this ritual hundreds of times with other species. They always accepted. Some hesitated, some negotiated, but they all joined eventually. The alternative was unthinkable, but these humans were different. They stood before him without fear. Their military officers looked ready for battle. Their leaders showed no sign of backing down. You do not understand what you are rejecting, Zekthor tried again. The galaxy is dangerous. There are species that would enslave you, others that would destroy you for sport. The Council keeps order. Without us, you face horrors beyond your imagination. We can imagine quite a lot, General Lisa Campbell said coldly. We have spent thousands of years imagining ways to kill each other. I think we can handle whatever's out there. Bellis pulsed with bright, angry light. You are children playing with fire. Your technology is crude. Your weapons are primitive. You think you can stand against civilizations that mastered space travel before your ancestors left the trees? Maybe not, President Mitchell said calmly. But we are going to try. Because that is what humans do. We face impossible odds and fight anyway. Sulamara's tentacles writhed in distress. Please reconsider. Once we leave, there is no second chance. The Council does not offer membership twice. Good, Rogers said. Because we are not interested. Zekthor realized he was losing control of the situation. This had never happened before. He needed to reassert authority. Very well, you have made your choice. But understand this. If you refuse the Council's hand of friendship, you refuse its protection. When danger comes, and it will, you will stand alone. We are used to standing alone, Mitchell replied. The four aliens turned to leave. As they walked out, Tikcha paused at the door. You are brave. Foolishly brave. I almost admire it. But bravery without wisdom is just another word for suicide. We will see, Campbell said. The aliens returned to their shuttle and flew back to their ship in orbit. Inside the harmonious dawn, Zekthor immediately opened a communication channel to the Council homeworld. The humans have refused, he reported, still struggling to believe it himself. They rejected membership. They rejected our protection. They choose isolation. On the other end, Primarch Valkoris of the Venlari slammed his fist on the Council table. Refused? That is impossible. No species refuses the Council. These humans did, Zekthor said. And there is more. Our scans detected advanced technology on their planet. Energy signatures consistent with faster-than-light drives. Multiple locations. Commander, I believe they have been preparing for this. Preparing? Primarch Silvana of the Shard Collective asked, her crystal form vibrating with shock. They have barely left their own planet. How could they develop faster-than-light technology? I do not know, Zekthor admitted. But the readings are clear. They have capabilities they should not possess. Primarch Thurak of the Kresh Dominion clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Perhaps they found ancient technology, or perhaps they are more clever than we assumed. Either way, this cannot stand, Valkoris declared. We cannot allow a precedent where species refuse the Council and face no consequences. If word spreads, others might follow. Our authority would crumble. What do you recommend? Primarch Nestara of the Aquarian Depths bubbled. We send a fleet, Valkor said firmly. Not a diplomatic vessel. A military force. We show these humans what happens when you defy the Council. We remind them of their place in the natural order. You want to go to war? Selvana asked. Over one primitive species? Not war, Valkoris corrected. Correction. We will break their military capabilities, destroy their technology, force them to accept our terms. It will be quick, painless, educational. The other Primarchs considered this. Finally, they voted. The decision was unanimous. Earth would be subjugated. Its defiance would end. Within days, War Primarch Kolshan assembled a fleet of 300 warships. Vessels from a dozen different species, all armed and ready. Kolshan was a veteran of conflicts from thousands of years ago, back when the galaxy still had wars. He was old, experienced, and absolutely certain of victory. On Earth, surveillance satellites detected the approaching fleet while it was still days away. The images appeared on screens in command centers worldwide. President Mitchell stared at the display. 300 ships, each one larger and more advanced than anything humanity had ever built. Can we win? She asked quietly. General Campbell studied the tactical data. In a straight fight? No, we have 18 ships. They have 300. Their weapons are more powerful. Their shields are stronger. If we try to fight them head-on, we will lose in minutes. Then we do not fight them head-on, Colonel Rogers said. He pulled up a different display showing the solar system. We use the terrain. We use our home advantage. We make them fight on our terms, not theirs. What do you mean? Admiral Carter asked. They are coming here expecting a quick battle, Rogers explained. They think they will show up, blast our defenses, and we will surrender. So we give them a fight they are not expecting. We slow them down. We frustrate them. We make them angry enough to make mistakes. And then, Mitchell asked, then we hit them where they are not looking, Captain Angela Price said, stepping forward. She had been listening quietly until now. We do not defend Earth, we attack their homeworld. Everyone in the room went silent. The idea was insane. Attack Nexus Prime? Admiral Brooks said slowly. That is their capital, the center of their government. It will be the most defended place in the galaxy. Probably, Price agreed. But they are not expecting it. Every ship they have is coming here. That means Nexus Prime will be vulnerable. We send a small strike force while they are busy here. We show them that Earth does not just defend, we attack. That is the craziest plan I have ever heard, General Campbell said. Then she smiled. I love it. President Mitchell looked around the room at her advisors. Are we really considering this? I think we have to, Rogers said. If we just sit here and let them attack, we lose. But if we make them afraid, if we show them that attacking Earth comes with a price, maybe we can negotiate from a position of strength. Or we start a war that wipes out humanity, Carlos Mendoza warned. They already started the war. Mitchell said quietly. We are just finishing it, all right, prepare the strike force. 6 ships, our best crews. They go to Nexus Prime while the fleet attacks here. Who leads the strike force? Brooks asked. Everyone looked at Colonel Danny Rogers. He nodded slowly. I will do it. This was partly my idea. I should see it through. Choose your crews carefully, Mitchell said. They need to understand this is probably a one-way trip. They already know, Rogers said. Every person in Facility Artemis volunteered for this. We all knew what we were signing up for. Over the next week, Earth prepared for war. Every military installation went to maximum readiness. Orbital defense platforms armed themselves. Nuclear submarines positioned themselves in deep ocean trenches. Fighter squadrons practiced intercept maneuvers. But the real preparation happened in secret. In hidden facilities around the world, 18 spacecraft prepared to launch. 6 would go with Rogers to Nexus Prime. The other 12 would defend Earth alongside the orbital platforms. Dr. Richard Hayes ran final checks on the Prometheus drives. The systems are as ready as they will ever be. But I have to warn you, Colonel. These drives are still experimental. We have tested them, but not in combat conditions. There is a chance of catastrophic failure. Everything in war has a chance of catastrophic failure, Rogers said. How bad are we talking? The drive could overload and explode. It could open a rift in space that swallows the ship. It could dump you in the wrong part of the galaxy with no way back. Or it could work perfectly. We honestly do not know. Rogers patted the scientist on the shoulder. Then I guess we find out together. Captain Laura Bennett would command one of the Earth defense ships, the Vindicator. She was a former fighter pilot, tough and fearless. "I volunteered for this the day they opened Facility Artemis," she told her crew. "I always knew aliens might come. And I always knew we would fight if they came as conquerors. So here we are. Let us show them what humans can do." Lieutenant Jake Morrison was the youngest officer on the strike force. He was only 25, but he had scored top marks in every simulation. He would serve as Rogers' tactical officer on the Defiant. "Are you scared?" Rogers asked him during the final briefing. "Terrified," Morrison admitted, "but also excited. We are about to do something no human has ever done. Attack an alien homeworld. That is either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid." "Probably both," Rogers agreed. "But it is what we have to do." Captain Angela Price commanded the Retribution, another ship in the strike force. She was a veteran naval officer who had switched to the space program 5 years ago. "I joined the Navy to protect my country," she said. "Now I get to protect my entire species." Not many people can say that. The Council fleet advanced steadily through the solar system. War Primarch Kolshan watched Earth grow larger on his main screen. The small blue world looked peaceful, almost inviting. Hard to believe such a stubborn species lived there. "Defensive platforms detected," Peltor reported. 20 orbital stations, all armed. "Nuclear weapons and directed energy weapons confirmed." "Nuclear weapons?" Kolshan said with disgust. "They still use atomic fission for warfare? How primitive." "Primitive but effective," Peltor warned. "A nuclear warhead can still damage our ships if it penetrates the shields." "Then do not let them penetrate," Kolshan ordered. "All ships raise shields to maximum. Prepare weapons. When we enter range, destroy the platforms first. Then target their military installations on the surface." On Earth, Admiral Helen Carter watched the alien fleet approach from her command station on the orbital platform Sentinel. Around her, dozens of officers monitored systems and prepared weapons. "They are coming in confident," she observed. "They think this will be easy." "Let them think that," Captain Laura Bennett responded from the Vindicator, positioned behind the orbital platforms. "The longer they underestimate us, the better." The 12 Earth defense ships waited in formation. They were smaller than the alien vessels, less elegant, but they were deadly. Each one carried enough firepower to level a city. Each one was crewed by people who knew this might be their last day alive. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter," she broadcast. "Hold your positions until they enter weapons range. Make every shot count. We may not get a second chance. The distance closed. 10,000 kilometers. 5,000. 1,000. Fire," Carter ordered. 20 orbital platforms opened fire simultaneously. Nuclear missiles streaked toward the alien fleet. Laser batteries blazed with blinding light. Railguns hurled metal slugs at incredible speeds. The first wave of alien ships staggered under the assault. Their shields flared and burned. 3 ships took direct hits from nuclear warheads and spun out of formation, damaged but not destroyed. "They are stronger than we thought," Bennett reported. "The nukes are not penetrating their shields." "Then we hit them harder," Carter said. "All ships converge and focus fire. Concentrate on their shield generators." The Vindicator and its sister ships accelerated forward, diving into the alien formation. They moved fast and unpredictably like sharks attacking a school of fish. Their weapons blazed continuously. Kolshan watched in surprise as the human ships tore into his fleet. "How are they moving so fast? Our sensors cannot track them properly." "Their drives are different from ours," Peltor explained, struggling to understand the readings. "More unstable but more powerful. They are sacrificing safety for speed." "Return fire," Kolshan ordered. "All ships engage." The alien fleet opened fire. Plasma beams and particle weapons lit up space. The first orbital platform exploded in a ball of fire, then a second, then a third, but the human ships kept fighting. They dodged and weaved, their smaller size making them harder targets. When an alien ship's shields dropped, the humans swarmed it, pouring fire into the vulnerable hull until it broke apart. Captain Bennett gritted her teeth as her ship shook from near misses. "Target that cruiser." "Port side, 200 meters!" The Vindicator's railguns spoke, and the alien cruiser shuddered as metal slugs punched through its armor. Atmosphere vented into space. The cruiser tried to retreat, but another human ship, the Defiance, hit it from the other side. The cruiser went dark and drifted. "We got one." Lieutenant Morrison cheered from his station on the Defiance, but the celebration was short-lived. A plasma beam caught the Earthship Guardian. The shields held for 2 seconds, then collapsed. The beam sliced through the hull like a knife through paper. The Guardian exploded, taking its crew of 40 with it. "Guardian is down," Carter reported, her voice tight. "All ships maintain formation. Do not let them isolate you." The battle raged for 3 hours. The human forces fought with desperate courage, but the numbers were against them. One by one, the orbital platforms fell. One by one, the human ships took damage, slowed, and died. By the 4th hour, only 8 human ships remained. Half the alien fleet was damaged, with 15 ships destroyed completely, but it was not enough. "We cannot hold them much longer," Bennett said, her ship sparking and smoking from multiple hits. "Admiral, we need to fall back." "Negative," Carter replied. "If we retreat now, they will bombard the planet unopposed. We hold as long as we can." But Kulshan had had enough. "This is taking too long. All ships concentrate fire on the remaining human vessels. Ignore the platforms. Once their ships are gone, Earth is defenseless." The alien fleet reformed and focused their assault. 3 human ships died in as many minutes. On Earth, President Mitchell watched the battle from the Situation Room. "We are losing." "The fleet is buying us time," General Campbell said. "That was always the plan. Every hour they fight is another hour for Rogers to reach Nexus Prime." "If he reaches Nexus Prime," Carlos Mendoza said quietly. Far from Earth, 6 human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Nexus system. Colonel Danny Rogers stood on the bridge of the Defiant, staring at the alien homeworld on his screen. Nexus Prime was beautiful. A world of blue oceans and green continents, surrounded by orbital stations and defense platforms. Thousands of ships moved in organized patterns around the planet. It was the heart of galactic civilization, and Rogers was about to attack it. "Are we insane?" Lieutenant Morrison whispered. "Probably," Rogers admitted. "But we are committed now. All ships activate stealth systems. Get us as close as possible before they detect us." The 6 ships crept forward, their drives running at minimal power. Their hulls were coated with materials designed to absorb sensor scans. It was not perfect invisibility, but it might buy them a few precious minutes. On Nexus Prime, Primarch Valkoris was in a council meeting when the alarm started screaming. "What is happening?" he demanded. A young officer ran into the chamber. "Unknown ships entering the system. Small vessels, fast approach vector. They are heading directly for the planet." "How many ships?" Valkoris asked. 6. 6 ships. Valkoris was confused. 6 ships dare to attack Nexus Prime? Activate planetary defenses. Destroy them immediately, but it was not that simple. The human ships had already penetrated deep into the system before being detected. By the time the defense platforms activated, the humans were almost in weapons range. "All ships weapons free," Rogers ordered. "Target military installations only. We are not here to kill civilians. We are here to send a message." The Defiant fired first. Nuclear missiles rained down on the Council Defense Force headquarters. The building's shields held for 3 seconds, then collapsed. The missiles struck home, and the headquarters vanished in a series of explosions. Captain Price's ship, the Retribution, targeted orbital weapons platforms. Her railgun spoke, and a massive platform broke in half, spilling debris and atmosphere into space. The other 4 ships attacked shipyards, military bases, and communication arrays. Everything military, nothing civilian. The message was clear. "We could have attacked your cities, but we chose not to." "Remember that. Incoming," Morrison shouted. "Defense fleet is responding." Dozens of alien warships converged on the human ships. The humans had surprise and speed, but not numbers. They could not stay long. 2 more minutes, Rogers said, checking his tactical display. "We need 2 more minutes to complete the strike pattern." The Defiant shook as energy weapons struck its shields. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Shields at 40%, Morrison reported. Rogers gritted his teeth and kept firing. Another headquarters building exploded. Another weapons platform went dark. The humans were leaving a trail of destruction across Nexus Prime's orbital space. "Time is up," Price transmitted. "We need to leave now or we will not leave at all." "All ships, break off and jump," Rogers ordered. Rendezvous coordinates transmitted. "Go, go, go." The 6 human ships turned and accelerated hard, their Prometheus drives spinning up to full power. The alien defenders pursued, firing constantly, but the human ships were too fast. One by one they jumped to faster than light speed and disappeared. Valkoris stared at the damage reports in horror. The Council Defense Force headquarters was destroyed. 8 orbital platforms were gone. A major shipyard was crippled. Dozens of military installations were burning. How? He asked in shock. How did 6 primitive ships cause this much damage? They knew exactly where to hit, one of his advisors said. They targeted our military infrastructure with precision. This was not a random attack. This was planned. Contact Kolshan immediately, Valkoris ordered. Tell him to cease the attack on Earth and return to Nexus Prime. We need to reassess this situation. But the message took time to reach Kolshan's fleet. By then the damage was done. On Earth, the last human ships were falling. The Vindicator took a direct hit to its reactor and exploded. The Defiance rammed an alien cruiser in a final act of defiance, destroying both ships. Admiral Carter's orbital platform, the Sentinel, was the last holdout. This is it, she said quietly to her crew. We are out of ammunition. Shields are gone. It has been an honor serving with you. The alien fleet surrounded the platform, weapons ready to fire. Kolshan prepared to give the final order. The 6 human ships regrouped at a predetermined location in deep space, far from both Earth and Nexus Prime. Colonel Danny Rogers sat in the captain's chair of the Defiant, exhausted but alive. Around him, his crew worked quietly, checking systems and treating injuries. Status report, Rogers ordered. Lieutenant Morrison pulled up the damage assessments. The Defiant took heavy hits but is still operational. The Retribution lost main power but has backup systems running. The Justice has hull breaches in 3 compartments but they are sealed. The Liberty, Freedom, and Victory all report major damage but are spaceworthy. Casualties? Rogers asked, already knowing the answer would hurt. 42 dead across all ships. Another 90 wounded, 20 seriously. Rogers closed his eyes for a moment. Those people had families, friends, lives they would never return to. But their sacrifice had bought Earth's survival. Captain Price reports ready to jump back to Earth. Morrison continued. Should we proceed? Rogers shook his head. Not yet. We need to give Earth time to stabilize. And we need to see how the Council responds. Open a channel to all ships. Morrison activated the communication system. The faces of the other 5 ship captains appeared on screen. We did something today that no species has done in thousands of years, Rogers told them. We attacked the Council homeworld and survived. We showed them that Earth is not afraid. Not of them, not of anyone. But our fight is not over. The Council will respond. The question is how. So we wait here, weapons ready, until we know what comes next. Captain Angela Price spoke up from the Retribution. Colonel, our supplies are limited. We have maybe 2 weeks of air and food. If the Council decides to hunt us down, we will not be able to evade them for long. I know, Rogers admitted, but I do not think they will hunt us. I think they will want to talk. Talk? Captain Ryan Foster of the Liberty said skeptically. After we blew up their military headquarters, they will want revenge. Maybe, Rogers said, but they are also smart. They sent 300 ships to Earth and we cost them 15 vessels plus damage to dozens more. Then 6 of our ships penetrated their supposedly impregnable defenses and struck their capital. If they come after us again, what will it cost them? 20 ships? 50? 100? Eventually, the math stops making sense. So you think they will negotiate? Price asked. I think they will have to, Rogers replied, because the alternative is a war they cannot afford to fight. Not against an enemy that refuses to play by their rules. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The 5 Primarchs sat in a chamber built for peace and prosperity, now discussing war and humiliation. Primarch Valkoris was furious. These humans must be destroyed. They attacked our homeworld. They killed our people. This cannot stand. Calm yourself, Primarch Thurak said with clicking mandibles. Anger clouds judgment. We must think strategically. Thurak is right, Primarch Nestara bubbled. The humans have proven more dangerous than we anticipated. Destroying them will cost us dearly. So we let them defy the Council without consequences, Valkoris demanded. What message does that send to the other species? That anyone can refuse us and survive? Perhaps that is not the worst message, Primarch Sylvana said thoughtfully. Her crystal form pulsed with soft light. For 12,000 years we have maintained peace through strength, but also through wisdom. The humans are different from other species. Perhaps we need a different approach. What do you suggest? Valkoris asked coldly. That we apologize for offering them civilization? I suggest we recognize reality, Sylvana replied. These humans developed faster than light travel independently. They built a fleet in secret. They executed a military strategy that caught us completely off guard. They are not primitives to be guided. They are a warrior species that has been preparing for interstellar conflict since before we knew they existed. All the more reason to eliminate them, Valkoris insisted. Can we? Thurak asked quietly. Eliminate them, I mean. War Primarch Kolshan's report is clear. The humans fight with a ferocity we have not seen in millennia. They sacrifice themselves willingly for tactical advantage. They strike at vulnerable points with precision. And they possess technology that, while crude, is effective. We have 700 member species, Valkoris argued. Millions of ships. Billions of soldiers. The humans have a few dozen vessels at most. And yet those few dozen vessels destroyed our military command center, Nestara pointed out. Perhaps numbers are not as important as we thought. The debate continued for hours. Some wanted immediate retaliation. Others counseled caution. Finally, Primarch Sylvana made a proposal. What if we acknowledge them as equals, not as council members, but as an independent sovereign power? We establish diplomatic relations, trade agreements, and mutual defense pacts. We treat them as partners, not subjects. That is unprecedented, Valkoris said. So are they, Sylvana replied. The council was built on the principle of bringing peace to the galaxy. But perhaps we have forgotten that peace cannot be imposed. It must be chosen. The humans have chosen to stand alone. We can either respect that choice or fight a war that may cost us more than we can afford. After more debate, the council voted. The decision was close, but finally agreed. They would send an envoy to Earth, not to demand submission, but to negotiate. Commander Zekthor volunteered to return. I made first contact with them, he said. It is appropriate that I attempt to repair the damage. 2 weeks after the battle, Zekthor's shuttle descended to Earth again. This time there were no other aliens with him. This time he came alone. The meeting took place on a neutral space station that the humans had quickly constructed in Earth orbit. President Claire Mitchell waited in the conference room, flanked by General Lisa Campbell and Admiral Helen Carter. Colonel Danny Rogers stood in the corner, his presence a quiet reminder of what the humans were capable of. Zekthor entered and sat down carefully. He looked older somehow, wearier. President Mitchell, I come with a message from the Galactic Council. We wish to negotiate. Negotiate what? Mitchell asked. Our surrender? No, Zekthor said quietly. Your recognition. The Council acknowledges that humanity will not submit to our authority. We accept this. But we cannot simply ignore you either. You have proven too dangerous to leave isolated. So what do you propose? General Campbell asked. A treaty, Zekthor said. Earth maintains complete sovereignty over its territory. You govern yourselves as you see fit. In return, you agree to respect Council territory and trade routes. We establish diplomatic channels, share some technology, create protocols for peaceful interaction. What is the catch? Rogers asked from his corner. Zekthor turned to look at him. There is no catch. The Council realizes that you are not like other species. You cannot be threatened into compliance. You cannot be conquered without unacceptable cost. So we adapt. We offer you a choice we have never offered before. Stand with us as equals, not beneath us as subjects. President Mitchell studied the alien commander carefully. And if we refuse even that? Then you remain isolated, Zekthor said. But we will not attack you again. The Council does not waste lives on pointless wars. You have proven your right to independence through strength. We respect strength. The room was silent for a long moment. Finally, Mitchell spoke. We will need to see the full terms of this treaty, and we will want significant changes. But in principle, we are willing to discuss this. That is all I ask, Zekthor said. Over the next 3 months, diplomats from both sides worked to create a treaty that both parties could accept. It was difficult. The Council was used to dictating terms, not negotiating them. The humans were suspicious of every clause and demanded verification of everything. But slowly a framework emerged. Earth would maintain complete independence. They would keep their weapons, their military, and their right to defend themselves. The Council would provide access to trade networks and share some non-military technology. Both sides agreed to respect each other's territory and resolve disputes through diplomacy rather than force. The treaty was signed on a historic day in Geneva. Representatives from every Earth nation attended. Commander Zekthor signed for the Council, his signature flowing across the document in alien script. This treaty recognizes Earth as the first independent sovereign power in Council space. Zekthor announced. You are not members of the council, but you are recognized by it. This is unprecedented. We tend to do unprecedented things, President Mitchell said. It is kind of our specialty. After the signing, Zekthor stayed for a private conversation with Rogers, Mitchell, and a few key advisors. May I ask you something? Zekthor said. When you attacked Nexus Prime, you targeted only military installations. You could have struck civilian targets, killed millions. Why did you not? Because we are not monsters, Rogers said simply. We fight when we must. We kill when we have no choice. But we do not murder civilians. That is not war. That is genocide. Many species would not have shown that restraint, Zekthor observed. Many species are not human, General Campbell replied. Zekthor nodded slowly. I am beginning to understand that. When we first came to Earth, I thought you were primitive, violent, dangerous. I was right about the dangerous part. But I was wrong about the rest. You are not primitive.